I'm Kim from Tall Mouse Creative Arts, and happy one day ago spring. It turned spring yesterday, so I think it's time for some spring cards. How about you? We are going to take a look at our kit in just a few minutes, all the parts and pieces that came into it. We're going to look at our tools, and then we're going to look at the finished cards that we are going to get ready to make today. So we're going to turn the camera down so we can take a look at what came in our kit. And then our kit was the white craft bag. And you know, you can chop this up and use it because it's got a really fun texture to it. You've got one 8.5 by 11 thin chipboard, color brown. You've got a black 8.5 by 11 smooth black cardstock. And then you've got a printed paper also. So I want to show you what we're going to be working with. We are going to fussy cut both of these guys out. You can pick your truck color. I'm going to be using this one for the sample. Fresh cut flowers, just be careful when you cut that out because we do need a little bit of space and they're going to be cut out individually. We are going to cut out earth, laughs, and flowers, and they will be individual, but you do want to give yourself just a tiny bit of room. And then we've got live life in full bloom, which we are going to cut out. And for the sample, it is going to be individual letters. So you're going to be left with two trucks. You got one sentiment as well. And then this block down here looks like a little bit of a brick building, so to speak, really long bricks. We are going to cut that out. We're going to ink them. They're going to be wooden planks, but we are going to put them back in the same spot as we were. So if you want to get a head start, that's totally fine. I understand, but put them down how they are so they lay on our card neatly. So these three items are in your kit as well as this particular die. And so I unnested mine already, but that guy is in your die, in your kit, and that is SJ31. It is a circle edge, which gives a nice lace cut to it. Circle edge, wavy inside squares. And then everybody got flowers. You might not all have the same flowers, but you have 6 teeny tiny small flowers, and then 3 small to medium. Some of them are large flowers. So I'm just showing you a little sprinkling of all different types of flowers that everybody got. So you have 9 flowers total, which we will be using. And then the project sheet you'll have gotten via email, but it will be posted on this particular die's description page. So if you do want to download it, you can certainly do that too. Again, that's SJ31 on our website. Okay, so let's take a look at all of the tools you're going to use. Excuse me. So for the samples, what we're going to make today, we want to use, well, what I'm going to be using is ivory, and I chose a texture ivory. I did a smooth gray, and then I did a texture green. These are the colors that I base the inks off of, so if you want to change it up, that's fine. If you want to ink, that is also fine. It's completely optional. I'm showing you the flush cutters because they're a good tool to unnest your dies with. Tweezers always help. I did choose a liquid glue because that just helps glue down the flowers, reinforce it. So we've got little zip dries, whatever liquid glue you're comfortable with. I do have the 2-way zig as well. We do want to use some small scissors for fussy cutting out the truck as well as the flower. Dauber, optional if you're going to do some ink. I'm showing you the stencil tape because it's a low tack, which if you want to adhere, it's really good for adhering this guy down onto whatever plate paper you're going to run through your machine so it doesn't shift. Completely optional for you. So that's a low tack stencil tape. Oops. We do have some pops. I've got squares, I've got circles. You guys can use whatever you want. You can see I'm in the middle of using it. I do have a tape runner. These are the 3 color inks I'm going to be using today. And then a bone folder is helpful. And then, of course, you need to have a die cut machine to run it through, and a pause. Paper trimmer. Sorry about that. I had a complete brain fog right there. So these are all the tools that we are going to use. Everything that I've done is going to be pre-cut because the machine's really noisy. So I'm going to be talking slow so you guys have time to run it through your machine and cut. All right, let's look at our finished projects here. So we are going to do 1 card folded, and that is a fold right there, horizontal. So that is lovely and very colorful. perfect for spring. And then that is our fresh cut flowers, which we're going to be popping up the truck and adding some floral dimension to it. And then I call these panel cards because they're not folded by any means, but the chipboard gives it a little bit of stability so they can be, well, you can display them a little bit differently than a folded card. So I call them more of a panel card. So this will be a vertical panel card using our chipboard. And then we have a horizontal panel card, again, nothing on the back, as a horizontal card with a big 3D element, which will be our flowers and then our planks in there. So we've got 3 interesting cards to be making with one die, which I think is really cool to be doing. All right, you guys are going to look at this while we stop and flip our table. All right, our table is prepared so we can get ready to begin our first card. The first card we're going to work on is Earth Laughs in Flowers. So we are going to be working with this, making this particular card. But before we do, we want to dismantle our die. So I'm going to just put this guy aside. That's our goal, what we're going to achieve. And then looking in this die, I accidentally popped it apart already, but you can twist it to pop these little guys out, but we don't want these, I call them metal spurs. We don't want those at all. So you can take your flush cutters. The cool thing about a flush cutter is it is flush on one side, which it's gonna go bump up against whatever you're doing and then snip. Don't do your fingers because that will hurt. So you can take that, whoops, right there and snip. You can hold it and twist, but you can also snip it. I don't know if you guys heard that. It just flew somewhere. So now you're going to dismantle your piece. So you've got one piece right there. And now I'm going to hold it and not snip it because you can clip that guy off as well. So we'll just put that, and then we're going to get this little spur right here. And then that one, oh, I just heard it shoot my wall. Okay, flush cutters work very well. We're going to put these guys aside. So now we have 2 separate dies. You can use them together. That's where your tape comes in handy, or you can use them separate. We are going to be using them separate. So you do want to run this particular die through on your ivory card or ivory color, unless you changed your colors. So this is going to go run through there, and then you're going to take this and do your green paper and run it through. And then at the moment, we're only going to be using 2 of these particular wavy squares. All right, so we're going to set these guys aside so you know at least what we're going to do. You're going to start, we're going to make the panel first, because remember, this is a flat panel, it's not a folded card. And then you're going to measure out for the particular Earth card. This is a little bit larger because I wanted it to be a little bit of a panel. So 3 3/4, as you notice, that's going to be that guy. So 3 3/4. You can do 3 1/2, but it's just going to make this all a little bit tighter, and you're not going to see as much chipboard right here. I wanted it to see a little bit of the chipboard because the brown kind of softens the green and it looks all very earthy in nature. So I wanted it a little bit larger. This is completely up to you. So remember, measure twice, cut once. So you can cut the first one at 3 3/4. If you want to cut a second one, you can do that too for our second panel. And then that third piece, you can do whatever you want, or you can cut the first one at 3 3/4 and then just wait a moment. I'm working off of the 3 3/4, just so you know what we are going to work with. So this one is going to get cut. Then you notice right here, we've got a layering piece, which is the green, because it's going to tie into the squares. So we are going to cut a 3 1/2 by 8 1/2 piece of green textured. Mine is going to be textured. We're not going to be doing any inking on this particular item, but that is going to lay out right there. So 3 1/2 by 8 1/4 to layer up on our chipboard paper. So we're just going to put these guys aside. We'll be dealing with that in just a minute. We've got this particular piece cut out with the ivory, and then you do got to go run your brush through. And I notice sometimes there's a little leftover one you just got to poke out. So you are going to have a few little dots everywhere after you do that. It gives a nice lacy edge to it, even though it's called a circle edge. And then you're going to run your machine and cut out, 3 will cut out unless you put the paper through the whole thing, or just 2. And then what we're going to do is fussy cut out both of the flowers. And if you notice on your project sheet right here, you've got 2 full flowers. You're going to cut out one entirely. It's up to you if you want to get in the inside of that. I did not for the sample. The second one, what we're going to do is we're cutting out the flower head, and then we're cutting out the little bud right there, because these are the 2 pieces we're actually going to turn into a 3D element. And so I'm going to fussy cut while you guys fussy cut. And then we've also got earth, laughs, in flowers. I gave myself plenty of room. I am going to ink these, and for right now I'm using the darker ink so it really pops off the card, because it's going to be leaning on green, but it's also going to be leaning on the ivory color too. So I just want everything to be very earthy, low-key on colors. So I'm going to take my fussy cutting scissors. I already cut out one, and I'm going to finish cutting out this guy. I am not going to ink the flower, but I do want to show you something that I'm going to do. So I'm going to get a little bit on the closer side. My large flower, I left it a little not so close to the line. But if you notice right here, I'm cutting right into here because I'm going to have this top flower lift just a little bit. I don't know if you can, I'm gonna have the camera come over here. I'll point with this guy. This is separate piece. I cut in here, I cut in here, and I cut in here because I want each piece to lift just a little bit to make it look like it's got a little bit even more dimension out of 2 pieces of paper. So just showing you guys where I'm adding a little bit extra dimension and cutting that just to get a little bit more. Oop. Oh my gosh, I just cut that guy's end off. And then this doesn't give you a spot to cut, but you do have a line that you can create a spot. So that's what I'm doing on this guy. I just thought this flower was so pretty. And all types of flowers. We can work with cutesy flowers. We can work with a little bit more sophisticated looking flowers. Okay, so if you notice, I cut right there. So I'm gonna lift, and I cut right there. I'm gonna lift, lift, lift. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like I've got 4 petals, and they're all going to be movable. So we're gonna work with that in just a minute. Get my little samples over there. And then this guy, the second one, I did cut a little bit closer to the line, so it really looks like this is a 3D element. So we're going to get a little bit close on my fussy cutting right there. Missed a little spot right there. You know what? I don't really like that. Yep. Okay. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes, I mean, I'm talking to you, but I have to kind of talk to myself when I'm crafting. If I'm crafting by myself, and I make little noises, but you know, we all have our little idiosyncrasies. Okay, so we've got 1 flower completely cut out. I'm not doing the inside right there. And yes, I left a little bit of space. I'm not so close to the line. How you fussy cut's completely up to you. I've got a little bud, and then I've got the flower with 4 individual petals that can move. And now let's, okay. Oh, sorry, I just inked my finger completely. I opened that guy up, and it really inked on me. Well, there you go. All right, so we're going to ink this really dark, which is what I wanted. A big contrast here, because I do want this guy to stand out. Okay. And I have inky fingers, which we all love having inky fingers, right? Part of the fun. Okay, so I'm gonna back up the camera just a little bit. All right, so these guys are all inked. We've got a couple of fussy cuts, and that is our goal. So I'm just gonna move these off to the side So we can do it one by one, and we are going to now layer. All of our prep has been done, which that's not really how I craft, but for video purposing and what we're doing, that's the better way to craft. So we're going to layer, and I'm a big eyeballer. I'm not measuring because I already measured, so I eyeballed, but I do want the texture side up for the green. So I'm going to run some short little runs of tape on that. And I already eyeballed it once, so we're just going to give it another eyeball before we seal that down. So dark chipboard, we've got our nice solid green, and then we're going to put that guy down. So we are layering that up. Oh, no dots. And then we're just going to eyeball this guy too. Alrighty. So I'm giving more room to the sides, and it's a little bit closer on the ends. That's okay. And I did not do my glue all the way towards the end. As you saw, I did short little movements in here because I want that little fluff right there. It looks like lace, so why not have it act a little bit like lace? So I did want that look. So you can, if you want it more flat, feel free to go ahead and put a little bit of glue right there. Okay, now we're going to strategically lay out, because as you know, you have to have your eye move through the card. We purposely put the two green right here. Yes, this kind of fades a little bit into the background, but your eye is going to go here and your eye is going to go here. And the word in forces, as well as the stem, forces your eye to come down here. But these two spots are the ones that really grab your eyes if you notice where you're looking when you look at the card. You do scan the entire thing, but where does your eyes go as soon as you look at the card? The two particular squares, and that's on purpose because you're purposely drawing the eye to that spot. Now, these guys are all wavy. It's up to you how you want to lay them out. Those weren't any sort of strategy. They're just nice, fun little waves right there. So I'm lining it up with this card. So that's about where I want, but before I glue, scoot that, I'm going to lay this out because I do want the curve in this negative space right there. So I think I'm going to move this guy up just a tad so it gives me a little bit of room. And then it gives like the tail, which points into the flowers. So I think that's about where I want it. So I'm going to take this and leave it right there and just put one little guy right there and flip that back. And then I'm going to flip this guy right there and put that one. Now, I do want these to line up. That's me. You can turn them a different way if you want, but I want the points to fairly line up together. So my lineup is all complete right there. And then I want this, which I'm going to use my tweezers a moment. I want that to line up right about there. So this one is going to be completely flat. So I'm going to put a little bit of tape runner right there. And then I want my liquid glue for this spot. And I want to make sure I'm lining it up. That's where I'm going to have this guy before I push it down. I'm going to shift it off to the side just a little bit because it's not completely centered. All right, that's where I want this guy. I'm going to make sure that guy goes down right there. Okay, so now completely flat. If you notice here, I pop dotted, I raised the word flowers. This is flat, and this is flat. And then we've got a raised piece right here, the bud, and then the raised piece right here. So we have two raised and a raised. Everything else is flat. It kind of equals itself out. So I'm going to glue down the three flat pieces right now, and then I'm going to put the flowers on with the pop dots. So I'm going to do my words first before I go ahead and do my flowers. So we are going to put down earth. Whoop. We are going to put, now you can put that straight, you know, you can put it where it's touching here, a little bit here, or you can tuck that guy in here. This, to me, is a little bit of space, so I want to mix this guy up right here. So I'm going to put it right here because you got a curve, you got a rectangle, you got a little bit of wavy curve right now. So I feel like your eyeball is definitely going to travel. So laughs. I might have to put this guy right here. Now this is a little bit different spacing than I did here. Perfectly okay. It's all right to mix it up and not have it be exactly like the sample. But I am going to tuck this guy down underneath there, and then I want it to come out. Yeah, so I'm going to do this. So it covers the triangle just a little bit, but it leans over here, it leans over here, and onto here. So it gives a little bit of an interesting curves right there. And then the word in, we're going to do one more little word. We're going to put that right there in the negative space, right there. Now, if you want to pop dot these up, completely up to you. We're going to pop dot up the word flowers. Well, I only put 2, just double checking what I did before. You can put 3 if you'd like, or 2. Right now I'm going to put 2, and I'm going to use this guy, and that's going to go just a little bit lower for me. So I'm going to put that down. So earth laughs in flowers. It just pulls it, just your eyeball, just a little bit more. And so now let's do our puff up right here. So I'm going to put some of the smaller guys. Eek. These are really teeny tiny. Some of the smaller guys on the bud first. And you know, sometimes you need long nails to do this, and my little short nails don't always work. All right, so we're going to line that guy straight up so that becomes a little puff right there, a lifted piece. Now we're going to do this one. All right, this and this definitely get, and then back here, the 2 opposite pieces, well, you've got 4, so pick one, skip one, pick one, skip one. The ones that lift up are the ones that do not get the foam. It's the opposite 2. So I'm going to repeat what I did right here. So it's going to be this one and this one. So that particular guy and that particular guy gets the foam. Oh, Jim's showing you guys. I don't know if you can see that. I'm doing that on purpose so the leaf can, uh-oh, I think I just picked the other one. Yep, and so I did. I just picked the opposite. Sorry guys, I just picked the opposite ones so that oh no, I did it right. Okay, so if you notice, I've got, that's not going to go anywhere. Oy. Okay, so I've got one big one right there. You could put another one just to stabilize it, but I put pop dots or pop squares in each opposite of the flowers. Well, every other one. So then I'm going to lay that down right here. I'm going to push right there. Okay, this one's got a dot and this one's got a dot. I did it completely opposite of what I just said I was going to do. So this guy can go ahead and lift up just a tad without ripping, and then this guy's going to lift up a tad without ripping. So it gives another just small little dimension to your flower. Just a tiny subtle hint. So earth laughs in flowers. That is our sample, and that's the one we just made. Excuse me. All right, now we are going to get ready to make the fresh cut flower. So this is going to be our next one we're going to prepare for. Stop. Okay, we're back. Our table is flipped, and we are going to work on the second card, which is fresh cut flowers. And I totally goofed, well, or I changed my mind because I'm a woman and I'm allowed to do that. We're going to use, my sample has the gray truck, but I'm going to use the little turquoise truck. So yes, we changed our mind. And I forgot one other thing too. So you're going to need a little bit of matching color paper to go with this, or some other paper that you would enjoy to pop on the card. So we're going to turn the camera down now so we can take a look at our sample and then get going on making it. So this is fresh cut flowers. We are going to produce the truck as a 3D element as well as the flower. So it's almost like a double 3D element. a double or a triple. So fresh cut flowers right there, which we cut these guys out. I stuck a little bit closer to the word on this one. I'm going to give you the measurements of the turquoise paper that I cut right here. So you do need another set of colors other than the gray, the ivory, and the green, but something to match your truck. So if you did the pink one, you can certainly do a coordinating, or you could do a pattern, whatever's up to you. I chose to do a solid color because I wanted this lace look to really pop, as well as the truck and the flower. So I tried to keep these as neutral, but your eye draws to the coordinating on that. And like I said, I fussy cutted out the turquoise truck, which I'm going to use on the one that we make. And then I'm going to not ink anything else today on this particular card. We're going to ink on the next card. So fresh cut flowers, let me give you the sizes to be cutting out. Of course, it'll correspond to what size you cut these out, how close to the letters that you cut. But and this is in your project sheet too. So for the word fresh, you're cutting out 1 3/4 by 1 1/2. For the word cut, you're going to cut out 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. So that would be 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. And the word flowers, which I glued down already, it's 1 1/4 by 2 1/8. So those are your background colors in order to glue those up. So while we're here, I am going to glue those up. And I did a textured piece of paper. Let me use my tweezers right there. I did do a textured piece of paper, and you can ink this as well as that if you'd like. Completely up to you. For right now, I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to use that guy. And then we're going to eyeball that and put that down right there. So we've got fresh, we've got cut, and we've got flowers ready to go. I'm going to move this off to the side. Well, before I do that, we're going to cut our base. Our black paper is going to be our base. So we are going to measure out on your cardstock 7 3/4. You are going to measure that out. You're going to cut it, and then you're going to put this guy aside. You get to do whatever you want with that. Fold this one in half. So I'm going to put this aside while I show you. That's what that is. Now remember, when you fold it, I always like to do a soft fold before I completely match that up, then take my bone folder and do a more solid crease right there, just to make sure it folds exactly where I want to. And we're going to produce a horizontal card that actually opens up, so you can put another sentiment or whatever you'd like in this particular one. So I'm going to put that off to the side, and then I see my mark right there. So I'm going to turn that over so you don't see my dash mark. And then on this piece, as you notice, you're going to have a gray piece, or if you chose a different color, that's fine. So that one is already cut out, and I'm not going to ink that. That size is 3.5 by 8 1/16. And if you notice, that's going to come very close to the edges all the way around. So that one's just a little bit of a tighter fit. So we're going to cut that out and layer that up. Maybe not that side, in just one moment. Then you're going to take your ivory piece. Now, when you run this piece through the die cut machine, you are going to put, because I want those 3 squares cut out within the entire shape. So that's got to go through your die cut machine. And this is possibly where you want to use that tape. It's up to you how you want to put that through. And if it shifts a little bit, just know that your squares, your wavy inside squares, are going to be shifting. So I ran this through exactly like that. So I purposely got those particular wavy squares cut on the inside, because I'm creating an element in here where I've got basically a window type of look. So earlier we just ran that through the machine, and then that to get 2 different pieces. So we're trying to maximize this little guy, what you've got going through there. So that got cut out, which we are going to layer up as well. And then fussy cut out one of your trucks, and my sample is the gray, and the one I'm going to use right now is the turquoise. So that guy got cut up. We are going to pop this one up. So now all we got to do is layer this little guy up, and it's going to be ready. So we're going to put that down there so we know what the goal is. That one is facing you, so I know exactly which way I'm going. And, oh, my tape runner, hello. Yes. Okay, so we're going to put a little bit of tape on this guy. And again, I'm eyeballing it. If you want to ink, that's completely up to you. All right, so we got that guy down, all adhered. Now we're going to do this guy. You can, if this is too thin for you to area, you want to do liquid glue, completely up to you. I'm just going to pop a few areas with the tape runner. I'm not going to take this full on line because again, I want that little bubble lace to pop up. I am going to run a little strip down the center, and I'm just marking it with a couple of different pieces right there so I get the essence of adhering it. Yes, I got that all correct. Okay, so that guy is going to come down, and I'm eyeballing that, and I've got a little bit of my lace popping off all the way around. Okay, so I put glue right there. So it is a little bit lifted right there. I want that look because I want that little fluffiness of that lace, and it gives another element and dimension to your card. All right, so you got your 3 windows. You can choose to do something else if you like. If you want to do another card, think about maybe weaving something through there and coming out and having tails, making it a vertical card of some sort. So you've got lots of options with this particular die. All right, so now what we're going to do next is lay out where the truck is going to go. I like to stage things out before I actually put everything on. So on my sample, I've got it a little bit, I guess. So I want my flowers to pop up sort of in this area, and fresh and cut. Again, I put things on an angle. This one's straight, or you can turn it. You can connect these pieces a little bit like that. I just like it to, that's overlapping that. That's going to go right there kind of at an angle. So your eyeball has to kind of play all the way through that card. And then flowers, I am going to put on a little bit of an angle right there. So you do have open spaces. Your eye is very busy on this card. There's lots to look at, even though we don't have very many pieces up here. So the next thing you want to do is arrange how your flowers are going to go. We're going to put 5 in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and do our little accent piece right here. So you can put them in any order you like. Everybody's got their 6 little small flowers we're going to use. And at the moment, we're going to foam dot this guy up. We're going to put the big squares because I'm good if the whole entire thing is completely popped up and no little wiggles anywhere. Okay, so this guy's, whoa, this guy's really gonna be pop dotted. I probably could have put another one right there, but we're not going to. All right, so I just want to make sure that's where I want it. I do want that little guy right there. And in my sample, I'm a little bit more, my sample's a little bit more to your right. I'm going to center this one a little bit more because I want, I want my flowers right there. So before we do that, I'm going to put down fresh cut so I know where that guy's going to go. Okay, I'm just going to leave that. I didn't seal that just yet because I might want to put this guy down and tuck that, which I think I do. Just a little bit of the corner, just to make it a little bit interesting right there, because the flower over here is going to have a little flower, so there's nothing interesting going on right here. So I just connected those 2 pieces. So we're going to take this one. We're going to glue that guy up. We're going to tuck so it just kind of hides that little corner because I want my flower right there. Okay, and then got that guy right there. So I'm going to arrange probably, what do I want to pop out? My little rhinestone's a little shoddy right there. I think I'm going to put the orange right there. So that brings your eyeball right there. Now, we are going to do liquid glue. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 spots of liquid glue, and then I'm going to put a pop dot right here and right here. I don't know if you guys can see that, right here and right here. So those flowers actually pop and are equal with the truck. So let's do 1, 2, 3. And I'm okay if they're a little bit closer together so the flowers overlap each other. And I think we're going to do pink on the end. We're going to do a turquoise in the middle. You know what? No, I want turquoise right there. And I want this guy to go right there. And okay, that one's going to go right there. Now, what I'm going to do is take a square, and I'm actually going to cut it in half right there. And I'm going to put a square right there. Well, half of a pop square. And then I'm going to take these guys off ever so gently. Probably should have done that before I put that down. Okay, so I'm giving it a little bit of space. Where did that guy come from? Okay, so then what I'm going to do is put my flower right here so it just overlaps ever so tiny, but it's at the same level as that, and it does have a little bit of support right there. And then a little bit right there. And then I'm going to take my liquid glue. I'm going to dot that little guy. You can certainly use the zip dry also if that makes you feel more comfortable, or whatever type of liquid glue you have. And then my particular flower right there, and I'm just going to smash that down. All right, this is our sample. And then this is the one that we just made. So we've got turquoise, we've got a different color truck, and we've got the 3D element with the flowers, and it's all popped up and ready to be mailed. Okay, we are back. We are going to do our last card, Live Life in Full Bloom. And if you notice, it's a flat panel card, which we're going to do. And then we're going to be using all of these particular pieces that look like planks. And I just figured it out. You know, you learn something every day. You could cut this whole entire unit out and you can ink it, or you can cut each particular panel like I did right here. But we'll go over that in just a minute. So the card, we are going to use our big flower. So I'm just going to shift this guy to the side because everybody got different types of flowers. So we've got some that look a little bit on the brighter, smaller size. We've got some that are completely equal. You can mix them up. We do want the element of 3 so your eye travels appropriately. We've got some that might look like this where you could put a larger one in the middle and then 2 smaller ones on the side to buffer that guy up. We have this, which is actually alike as well. So you choose whatever color scheme that you want to do, but you're going to be using 3 colors, 3 flowers, and today I'm going to use those guys. So whoever's got this one, woohoo! So we're going to be using that. And then remember earlier, we cut out our chipboard. You either cut out 1 to do the first card, and I said set it aside, or you cut out 2, 3 3/4. This one is a little bit larger panel. I did it on purpose so you could see this, and then your eye draws to particularly this look, what we're going to draw our eye to, or you can do it at 3 1/2. It's completely up to you. And then you're going to take this particular, the outside die, you're going to cut with your ivory piece, just 1 piece, go through your die cut machine. So that one is cut out, this guy's cut out. We're not going to ink either one of these. So while we're right here, I'm actually going to glue that guy down so that step is out of the way. And we're going to center that the best we can right there. So then our base is all prepared. Now I'm just going to put that guy to the side. So I inked up already the Live Life in Full Bloom. So I inked it up right here. I used dried oregano color and I just opened it up and inked all around the edges. Put that guy off to the side. If you want to line this with another piece of paper, completely up to you. For the sample, we're not going, well, what we're doing today, we're not going to do that. We're just going to stick to inking this guy up. And then these particular pieces, I'm going to use a soft suede, some sort of brown, whatever color you want to do to ink it. I laid it out into the same order that I had right here, but like I said, it just dawned on me that I could have inked the entire thing and then cut the thing out, which, you know, sometimes I like to complicate things because that's just what happens right there. I am going to use my finger dauber on this particular one because I don't want to take this, turn it over and go like that. I actually do want to use my finger dauber, and I'm just going to show you how I'm going to ink one right now, and I'm going to take a little bit off to the side just so I can not have a dark blot on that particular thing. So I want to get the excess off first, and I'm going to just go ahead and ink however dark you want it. It's completely up to you, and then you can also take it and then draw your ink across so you do get a different type of look on that. So how you ink is completely up to you. If you want to pick it up and then do a little bit harder around the edges also, that's completely up to you. So we're just going to ink one together. We'll give a little bit of a darkness to this particular one. And I prefer my fingernails not be brown today. I did do a little neutral color today. Okay, so I don't like what I did right there, but it's going to be all chopped up anyway, which I'm going to show you how. So go ahead and ink up all the rest of yours. Put it on pause real quick. Okay, so we inked all of our pieces. As you notice, you can see on my little piece of paper right here. And yes, I got a few dauber on here, and I actually inked up. I daubered onto the piece and then drag it also, as well as did some darker pieces, and a couple of them I did edges. So just so you know, inking them up is completely a different style. It just gives it a different look. It gives it a different texture, but you do want to ink up your planks. And then I went ahead and cut them, and I left the pieces here, and I laid out just the first grouping right here. I did not glue anything down. Now, how you lay them out and space them, let me explain to you. I'm going to take my little tweezers and point. So you have 12 dots right here coming all the way up. I want to work within the space that I'm using right here. So you've got 5 rows of planks. So I started with the middle one, and 6 up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is kind of where I'm putting my middle one, the 6 and 7 coming from bottom up. So I laid my plank down right there. Now, if you want to mix them up and play with them, that's completely up to you guys. I'm very type A, so I laid it out like this, and I'm going to do it like that, and that's how my sample is going to be. If you want to mix it up, great. The point is, can you back up just a minute? The point was to get a little bit of movement going on in your card. You've got planking that, yes, you could stamp on there, but this gives it a 3D element. So it changes up the look at it, gives it another texture, gives it another element of look where your eye is going to draw. So if you want to mix up your planks, completely up to you. I'm just showing you what I'm going to do and the theory behind what I'm doing. Exactly. So my first set of planks are all laid out right here. So I'm going to tape runner these down. If you want to use a liquid glue, because that's a little bit easier for you, you can do that as well. But I have my road map right here, and then I can go in and put my other planks. So go ahead and put that on pause. Okay, so I glued down all of my pieces right here. And if you notice, I did expand it out and leave some spaces, and I didn't go exactly even over here. This one's a little bit less, well, it's a little bit more lined up, but you can go ahead and play with your edges right in there. As you can see on the samples, they're not all completely lined up. It just gives a little bit of a planking, not an even perfect look, because a brick wall wouldn't be an even perfect look like that. So a little bit of space all in here, and I'm just going to glue this last piece down just to show you what I was playing with. And we'll just put that guy right there. So all of my inked planking is down. We've got the ivory piece down. So now we want to lay out the flowers, and depending upon which set of flowers you have, you can change it up with a slight triangle. If you want to lay out your pattern just a little bit different, you could do something like that. You could definitely do your straight across right there. But if your flower size isn't exactly as large as that one, you can definitely play with what you're doing. So I'm just going to repeat straight in the middle like that, but you can think about different ideas. And then we're going to glue down the Live Life in Full Bloom. And let's see, I'm going to play up here with the planks, play right there, Live Life in, play right there. So I'm going to stick within the planking right here. And then on my sample, you'll notice I connected these two together like that. We can do that again right here, but you've got a little bit of space so you could elongate it as well. So I'll decide by the time I get there. So I am going to put liquid glue down for the flowers. That seems to work a little bit better. For the interest of time, I'm just going to do Zig right now, but Zip Dry definitely holds quite well. A tape runner with liquid flowers, I would say not so much. But we're going to do that. Pop that guy in, and we're actually going to do this guy right there. I'm doing this one last on purpose because I want those to go over that. Whereas my sample, I popped these guys down below and that one on top, but you can certainly do it the opposite way. So I want my purple one to be the star of the show right here. So it's going to get completely center stage. Now, depending upon what size flowers you have, more of your planking is going to show, or the little spaces in it too. It is completely up to you how that lays out, as well as what size flowers, you're going to get. So I'm going to be taping, taping those guys. And then all of these are flat because I do want my raised element to be the flowers right there. So I'm going to bring this guy out a little bit so it hits the bubbles. A little bit of lace. I didn't even think that got there. There we go. And then that. So beam, beam, beam. Your eye zips around right there. And then we're going to do this. Let me see. Yeah, I think we're going to nest these guys together. So I'm going to bring this right here. So I've got my little angle right here. And I'm going to spread that out just a little bit more. So I overlapped my sample a little bit more and closer together to kind of be in line with the flowers. I elongated it right here so your eye can go live life. Woo, look at all the flowers in full bloom. So there we go. That particular flat panel is done. I'm going to move these guys aside. Again, this is your die that you use several different ways today. One die, you have 3 completely different looks. So that is our sample. This is our one we just made. This would be the sample. And that's the one we just made. Put that down right here. This is our sample. And then that would be the one that, yep, I think that's the way I did it. The one that we just made. Now you've got completely different looks. So you get to decide which style is your favorite. And then they're all ready for mailing. So let's just talk real quick about mailing, because we've got 2 different envelopes because these are slimline cards. We've got a diagalope, which remember is a little bit larger in case you do have a 3D element. You need room for a little bit of puff or shaker card. And then we've got the 4x9, just a simple template. So you've got that particular one, and then you've got this particular one. So let's show you. I wanted to show you the card, the larger one. This would be the diagalope, so you know that guy's in there and it has that flower in there. So it can definitely fit in this particular card, but as you can see, it's just a little bit snugger right there. So given that these are larger flowers in a 3D envelope, I would prefer mailing it in the diagalope. Completely up to you. Maybe you don't even want to mail it. Maybe you just want to sit this out and enjoy it. So, all right, you guys, you enjoy all your cards and go make more with your die that you have, and we'll see you next time. You're on. Okay. Hi, I'm Kim from 𝐂𝐨𝐬𝐧𝐴 Creative Arts and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed making your 3 different type of Skinny Gym Slimline spring cards. So now you've got a die and you can make more cards. And speaking of dies and speaking of new, we've got 5 new Skinny Gym Slimline dies to share with you guys, and you get first dibs. So that's always exciting to be the first one to see something. And then if they sell out, they sell out. I can't share it with anybody else. So let's take a look at these fun little guys. All right, our first one is SJ77. Yes, they all have names on it, but we're getting so many of them, I have to number them. SJ77 on our website. It's a little bit of an oversized long ways, but obviously they're strips, so you can cut them any length that you want. And these are already pre-cut, so what is better than that? You get 4 of each size, so 3 different sizes to play with. So SJ77, super easy on that one. And then this is SJ78. Perfect time for spring, just in time for spring. It's got a nice fun ruffle on the edge. You got these stitched circles on the inside and then little icons. You got a small flower, a little butterfly, and then a lovely little leaf. So that's those guys popping out right here, right there, and right there. And then you got stitched circles, which are always helpful. Perfect little size to go ahead and add on to something or do whatever you'd like with. Jumping over to SJ79, simple triple window envelope piece right here. Well, not envelope, but triple window pane, stitched squares. So those work nice together. And then you've got 3 icons in here also. This has got a nice, all 3 of them are stitched. So a little banner piece, a little postage stamp with fun little stitching on there. And then you've got the little, I don't know what to call that. The little pointy arrow-ish kind of thing. So these all layer up really nice together. So that is SJ79. And then coming down to the middle, this one's got lots of parts and pieces to it. I just love the clean little lines of these little tags or the little banner pieces on it. So you get 4 of those. This is SJ80. And it's an oversized piece too. The dimension is on the website. So you've got a larger base, you've got a little bit larger size ruffle piece in the middle, and then this rectangle piece that you can cut out as well. And then you've got this tag, which you can obviously put a ribbon or something through it, and then 4 different size ribbons. So SJ80, that one's a new one and an oversized. Well, all of them are new ones. And then this one just intrigues me. It is a set of 4. They're all some sort of crazy edge stitching, which I love this one. Look at how wavy and intricate that little line is right there. And then you've got a typical zigzag. This is SJ81, by the way. Now, this one is a stitched line because maybe you want it stitched in the middle of something. This is all dots. What am I going to do with dots? Well, guys, think about lifting something or a perforation where that could be ripped. But if you had like a stitched line next to this perforated line, it could be a folded envelope or folded cover of some sort. So that's what that little guy is. So I'm very anxious to get going on a project with this collection set. So this is SJ81. So 5 new ones, SJ77, 78, 79, 80, 81. You guys get first dibs on that. And then what else do we have on sale? Our handy dandy tape runner, which you guys just saw me use. This guy is going to be on sale for $1.50 while supplies last. This is a very good double-sided, obviously, tape runner, which is permanent and it is a straight line. And then what are the other deals going on? Well, dun-da-da-da. All right, 25% off the website, off regularly priced products, no double dipping. Use code SLIM25, all caps, run it together. Our website, free shipping over $59. And this sale is valid until March 25th. And then, of course, head on over to our Facebook page because we'll be doing some other March specials too. So you guys have a great rest of your day and happy spring.